Hello, and welcome to the channel. I'm Lexicon, and today I'm just gonna have some fun. That's right, I usually do redesigns or draw things for other people, but this time I just wanted to do some random art. So I did what any reasonable person with this desire would do, and hopped onto a random word generator in search of character inspo. And let's see what I got. Well, let's just say that was unexpected. This isn't exactly what I had in mind, but hey, that's why they call it a random word generator. I was going to get 3 random words and turn them into warrior women, but these pics are gonna make that a little difficult. So I don't know if I stuck to the theme exactly, but I did try. My first word was stable. Now, I wasn't sure how to take this at first, but I ended up going with a stable as in, like, where horses are kept. Naturally, this means leather chaps and a cowgirl hat, so I automatically knew to put those. As I was doing the rough sketch, I had this image of a rough and tumble, fierce western desperado type lady in mind. The fun part about that is, I have no idea what cowgirls wear or how to draw a cowgirl hat, so I had to find some references. After searching Pinterest for a while, I found some cool reference pictures and got to work. I ended up kind of screwing up her anatomy a little bit, but if you look at it the right way, it just kind of looks a bit cartoonishly exaggerated, so I'm not too sad about that. She isn't exactly the most realistic or reasonable looking Western character, but then again, she doesn't really need to be. She's just for fun. I imagine whatever's going on with her shirt hem there ends up in a leotard, and her belts, plural, keep those big old pants from falling down, so she can at least move around with some efficiency. She's got a few knives, whether for gutting and cleaning small game or throwing at somebody's face, we have no way to know. I also gave her a rope because that's what I think of when you say cowgirl, but later on in the drawing I ended up adding this scythe-looking blade to the end as this sort of like spinning rope weapon that she can plunge into somebody. Look, I never said I understood how weapons work, I just think it could do some damage. I stuck mostly to browns for this design since, leather, but I did give her plenty of black in there too. It's a bit dull, but I feel it fits the rough western theme and would fit into a stable. For a little pop of color and intrigue, I made her eyes red and added a few decorative chains to her outfit, along with a hairstyle that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but also gets a pass because it somehow managed to make pigtail braids edgy. Give her a nice tan, put some studs around her hat, and throw down a red background, and you have yourself an edgy western cowgirl who spends at least some of her time in the stables, taking care of probably an edgy black stallion with red eyes or something. Does anyone have a name for her? Or maybe even a little bit of a story? I personally think she's an anti-hero with a vengeance plot, but maybe that's just me. This was more in line with what I wanted from the generator, and funnily enough, the only one that I had any idea about going in. From the moment I saw the prompt, I knew exactly what I was gonna do. A hefty forest nymph creature, strong and sturdy like an oak tree, with big floofy hair like tree leaves and long tree branch antlers. I had a few different ideas at first, but as I was drawing her, I gravitated immediately toward her final design. Her pose was a little harder to get a handle on, though. I mean, you know how hands are. So that ended up changing quite a bit, but hey, she totally has enough inhuman strength to hold that giant sword with a single arm. I never said this was gonna be realistic. I tried to stick to the oak motif as much as possible, and while I think I could have stayed on brand a little bit better, her clothes still come out pretty interesting and very druid or foresty. Her long droopy ears are like one of my favorite design elements in the entire world to give a character to. I mean, like, come on. This is just peak character design in line with fingerless gloves and sleeveless skin-tight halters. I don't know why, and I can't explain my feelings to you, they're just good. I stayed pretty on task with the color scheme, sticking to earthy browns and somewhat desaturated moss greens. Her scarf and some other elements ended up a lighter green for contrast's sake, and I decided to give her yellow eyes as well for the same purpose. I think they help evoke those little yellow spots dying leaves get around fall or if an insect's been snacking on them, and they glow for that nymph-like magical effect. With a few gradients to help everything tie together, and the small details colored in, her color scheme was set. The shading was easy with all her large and mostly unbroken shapes, and I decided at the last minute to give her some glowing elements, this time in the form of magical tattoos and some glowing freckles. Now that I'm done with it, I wish I would have given the sword some sort of enchanted, I don't know, just some sort of cool design, but it is what it is, and I do like the acorn on the end. I finished it off by giving her a white outline stroke, a shadow, and actually using the reference photo as a background. Usually I like to just throw together some kind of BS background, but I feel the forest reference really went well this time, and I like the two of them together. So yeah, that's my oak warrior lady. I think she should have some kind of strong, resilient name, probably nature related. What are your thoughts? This prompt was different. I didn't have a super solid idea to begin with. Even with my theme of warrior women slowly going off the rails already, I just couldn't find an angle for this to work at. I mean, what could be done? A TV sword? Some kind of TV-headed monster? I played around with some design ideas, but landed on one I ended up liking way more than I thought I would. She's supposed to kinda be the guy in the chair archetype, or I guess the lady in the chair in this case. So it'd be much more modern, obviously with the TV screens. I wanted to mix two common ideas of TV and electronics, which are, of course, futuristic and retro. I think that's an existing aesthetic actually, but I can't remember at the moment what it is, so if anyone knows, please do say so. But yeah. Anyway, I decided to go with a pop 80s style for her outfit, like she's really into old retro stuff, but somehow more showy. She has a TV screen everywhere she could reasonably look at one, including over her eyes, and her color scheme is a mixture of black, cyan, magenta, and a sort of greenish yellow that's reminiscent of the digital primary colors. She's got fun, high ponytails and dangly earrings, and I ended up giving her this bright pastel pink lipstick that really sells the pop fun look. I did consider leaving her skin pink for the fun of it, but ended up giving her a tan instead, the kind you would see in those 80s blonde models or actresses on TV. I realized a little too far in that all her screens, including the one she was currently interacting with on her arm, were turned off. Luckily, it was easy to fix with some bright cyan, so I turned on two of them and added some random symbols and buttons she could be pressing. Her visor also has a cute heart in place of one of her eyes. The background was fun to do too, even though it was a little difficult to make her pop without my usual stroke outline. I have really got to remember to put transparent stuff on a different layer so it doesn't interfere. I instead went for a black background with a bunch of colorful floating pixels, and I ended up liking it a lot, so with some final polish, she was done. What sort of name do you think she should have? For some reason, I'm either feeling Sarah or Tiffany. What do you think? And that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment and tell me who your favorite was. If you want to see more art I do for myself or art from older videos, I occasionally post to my Instagram under the same name. Drop by and see if that's something you want to follow. Speaking of other art, if you want to see your OC drawn in a video, go watch this. The next OC video will come out when the last one reaches 150 likes, so stop by and see if you can help everyone reach their goal. As always, thank you so much for watching, especially all the way to the end. If you had fun here today, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. A second of your time helps more than you know, and I'm grateful for everyone. With that said, I'm Lexicon, and I'll see you next time.